Hey everybody, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, and in this video we're going to take a close-up look at the new Mishimoto cold air intakes for the 6th generation Ford Bronco. This is the version for the 2.7 liter. We're going to talk a little bit about the version for the 2.3 liter as well. We don't have that out here on our table, but this is what we're going to be installing on our Bronco. So we're also going to be doing an installation guide in a separate video, and we'll show you how to do that step by step, and that should be the same for most cold air intakes on the 2.7 liter Bronco. Now, a while back we made a separate video about the Roush cold air intake, which is very simple, relatively inexpensive. It's just pretty much a cover for the airbox, retains the stock airbox, and then puts a high-flowing air filter in there. We put that on our Bronco as a stopgap, but we knew ultimately we would want this Mishimoto intake on our build, so that's why this one's going to get transferred in. Now, as usual, we sell all these products on Motoroso.com. We'll put links to this in the description of the video and a link right here. That'll take you over to Motoroso.com where you can purchase this. You can also reach us there on live chat or call us toll free at 833-MOTOROSO. Now, the intake that's on the Bronco stock is going to be a restrictive air filter, just like they all are. They definitely overdo it with the way the paper filters that they put in these things. So a cold air intake is just going to flow more air into the engine. Now, some of the claimed horsepower numbers you're going to see from manufacturers of intakes usually, frankly, seem a little bit overzealous. Now, Mishimoto is pretty good about giving numbers that they think are very accurate. They don't overstate their numbers as much as some other brands do. However, what I usually recommend people do is look at this as a way of flowing more air into the engine and getting more performance out of some of the other modifications that you're doing. For example, if you get an aftermarket exhaust system, a cold air intake is going to help make sure that air flows into the engine faster so that it can also flow out. That makes the engine overall more responsive. It feels more peppy and less bogged down. Also, if you're going to do something like a piggyback tune, like the VR tuned, which is actually going to add significant horsepower. We'll put a link to that video right here. We got plus 54 horsepower and 100 pounds of torque on our Bronco on the dyno, and we showed that that's going to make significantly more power, and that was before we had an intake, and that was with a restrictive intake. So we think that we can even squeak a little bit more out of that piggyback tuner with this cold air intake, although we're not going to be able to have a chance to take it over to the dyno to test that because we're moving our offices pretty soon here. Now, the reason that this is going to flow more air is twofold. First, you're going to have a roto-molded polymer construction here. Now, that means that they've managed and designed the airflow through this system to just flow into the intake better. Now, in addition to that, the polymer is an advantage because it's not going to absorb heat from the engine bay or retain heat the way that metal or rubber might, and that's going to help make sure that that air going into the engine stays cooler. Now, in addition, it's a higher flowing filter than you would get from your OEM intake, and that comes in two different formats. You can either get their dry washable filter or the oiled style filter. And what that means is it's got a air filter oil applied to it, and that's going to capture more of the stuff coming in. So what I pretty much recommend is if you're just looking for performance and you're not off-roading in dusty areas a ton, the dry filter is probably the way to go there. But if you're going to be in nasty conditions, we recommend the oiled style filter. It's going to capture more of that particulate, and it is maintainable. You're just going to have to use a cleaner first, rinse it, dry it off, and then reapply intake oil. It's a little bit more maintenance than a dry filter, but well worth it for the extra protection. Probably don't need to explain why clean air going into your engine is a good thing. The claimed horsepower and torque gains from Mishimoto on this intake is 7.5 horsepower and 7.4 torque. And we think that's a pretty modest estimate and probably pretty spot on. Some other manufacturers claiming 10, 15, 20 horsepower gains. We don't think you're really going to see that kind of horsepower gains out of an intake install. And there really isn't possible to even have that much difference between these to really make that kind of a difference. So it's more about what the companies are claiming, and they're just trying to sell you an intake better. Again, don't purchase it on the basis of how much power you think it's really going to generate for you. Purchase it on what you think, how you like the look, and what you think the value is. And that's why this one's going into our vehicle. So this is a better price point than the AFE intakes. And we're going to be pairing this with the Mishimoto intercooler. So we like to keep those same brands together because we know that they were tested together. Now, they also make this for the 2.3 liter version. They don't have any sort of horsepower number claims on the 2.3 liter version, but it does flow 30% more efficiently. And the 2.7 liter version, I forgot to mention, flows 40% more efficiency in the way that the air moves through this intake. So we're going to show you how to install this step by step in a separate video. We'll put a link to that right here and down there in the description of the video. And as usual, these products are available for purchase on Motoroso.com. We'll put a link to those in the description of the video and right here as well. Those will take you over to Motoroso.com, where you can reach us on live chat or call us toll free anytime at 833-MOTOROSO. Now, if you're looking to make big power with your 2.7 liter, check out that VR tuned video, plus 54 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. That is a well-worthy install. We highly recommend checking that out. Thanks for watching.